friends, family, Graydon Bunn, Cam K here. Well, we did it. We made it to the end of 2021. This is our year in review for the Stickers and Scuffs podcast. Graydon, we never thought at the beginning in January of 2021 that we were going to get to have racing this year. We didn't think we'd be able to go to racing. We didn't think we were going to have as many guests as we had this year and have as many episodes as we did. We had interview segments almost weekly. We took a couple breaks off. Sue us. No, don't do that, please. Don't have any money. But I don't even know what to say. What's your word for 2021? What's your word on how this year went? I've got mine, so you can't take it.
Is your word unprecedented?
No, that's a good one.
Go.
Mine's a little cheaper than that. Mine's magical. Yes, fairy tale-esque, magical, Disney magic for us that grew up with Cars, the movie. You always wanted to go to the racetrack. I always wanted to be able to see the cars, meet the drivers, and we got to this year, Graydon.
Yeah,
in person. And what was your feeling on meeting drivers in person? To me, way better than doing virtual. Way better. I feel like, yeah, you can get a sense of people virtually, but meeting them in person, seeing how tall some of them are, I've never felt so short standing next to Sam Fellows. Seeing some of these names that we weren't expecting to see at the racetrack, getting to see, we had fans like that. That was bananas to me. You know, officials that were telling us, "You guys do a great job. Thank you." Saying thank you to us. The two schmucks that don't know any better. You know, Mike Sullivan, always got to give you a shout out as a thanks for giving us an opportunity to start last year. And I don't know if we felt like we were going to be able to do this when it got to the race season. And when we did, man, you got to bring your boys with you, your wife. Like
it seemed on its face to do it for a podcast. It seemed like a daunting task. And I mean, albeit like it's just like here, I show up and talk, but I mean, to your point, like we've been very lucky in the 6, 7, whatever it is years that we've been taking the boys to the races. It's made it easier in a way for when the boys jump on and speak to the drivers that they haven't necessarily met before, but getting to, I still credit that 2015 Fall Classic at Kawartha where we all got jammed in the building and it was just like people hanging out and talking. Like it was supposed to be the autograph session, which it was because it got moved in from the track because of the rain, but it was all like a bunch of families and a bunch of the drivers in that building together. And I swear to God, like we made friends with Scott Steckley on that day where it takes the edge off of that. Like the boys are able to kind of keep themselves composed. I mean, we get our knees knocking when we get outside our box with the Ron Fellows and that sort of thing. I mean, but it's been so neat but like I say, we've had that opportunity to do it, but only with a select few. And now that we've been able to do it with the vast majority of the Pinty series, at least driver roster. I mean, it's I say it in text on Twitter all the time, but I mean it when I say like it's an honor and a privilege to have not just the Pinty's drivers, but the APC series, the Quick Super Stocks, right down to the weekly series. Everybody that has a desire to race and wants to share their story with us, we are honored and privileged to be able to do that and to bring it to all you guys. So, I mean, to think that this is become a hobby kind of thing of ours but yet it's become an avenue for drivers that have come to us and ask us to come out, or for them to be on the show with us and talk with us. I mean, that's a huge compliment, and it's still a trip, and I don't think it'll ever not be a trip.
No. And one of the things that we were very hopeful for was being able to go to the races, and do stuff at the racetrack. Obviously, I think for our first kind of time, there's stuff that we can definitely improve on. There's a lot that we have to learn still about the mechanics of doing a podcast remotely. Obviously,
look at our first podcast where we sat down with DJ when he was like, I mean, some rough stuff. We'll progress, right?
We'll progress. I mean, sometime we do a little of this, go up and down, but that is kind of what happens. And some of I think what happened is we got off the bat and we had some guests on the show that we just were not expecting last year, like the Alan Bestwicks, the Josh Williams, the Ryan Vargas, is like guys that are in the Xfinity series. And then what we did in 2021 was we really focused on the Canadian aspect of it, because I think what it was great, and maybe you agree to this point as well, is when we actually got to the races, it made me miss Canadian racing way more than when we were watching on the Cup. We watched the Cup series and be like, this sucks compared to what I've been watching. And, it might sound like we're a bunch of butt kissers for the Canadian racing scene, but we're serious here. Is the racing is good. It wouldn't be something that we want to focus on if it wasn't good. And one of the things that we have, said is we're not just Pinty's fans. There's always been these people on social media that go, oh, well, APC's better. We're not saying it's not better. We're not saying one is better than the other. We love just the racing in Canada, the compassion from the teams and the drivers and the fans that love seeing people talk about their racing is something we weren't expecting. I can honestly say I was not expecting anybody to know who we were. And from that first race at Sunset Speedway to see Adam Ross say hi to me was like it was a dream come true. It was like, holy crap, Adam Ross just said hi to me. And then a legend, Todd Lewis, is offering me encouragement. Like, what?
Yeah.
It was crazy. And then to have people from NASCAR be so, we had officials, Jeff Wilcox, come in and give us some incredibly kind words, and Gloria Ang also same thing, giving us such positive stuff. And we're like, I remember looking at you and we're just like, what is going on? Like, I don't understand it. We were at CTMP and all these people know who we are, and I'm like, what is going on here? It's so confusing. And then to meet and Sherry, to meet Sherry and say hi to her, and then to see some of the friendly names, yet Flambro, and all of a sudden, Pete Shepard's there, and he just gives us a friendly nod, and you're like, I know that guy. Remember we were standing on the pit road as the drivers were coming back from practice, and we're just standing there waving, and they're just waving back. We did some of them we didn't wave to first. They just were like, hey, yo, what's up? And I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah,
it's crazy.
It's like getting the nod from the friggin' quarterback or whatever in the hallway at high school. It's like, oh my god.
Yeah, people we idolized. I remember. Yeah, every time DJ would come by, you're like, fist pumping and being like, yeah, that's the guy. And the best thing about it, dude, is that we got to go out and be with fans in the stands. We got to experience it with Wade and Tori and Mason. With Al. Funny enough, my dad's name is Al too, and he got to be out there with Al, and it was awesome. And not just, I mean, I have a little bit more of a different experience too, because I also run the Facebook group for the Pinty Series community, and so meeting some of those people as well. And it's like we're building something here, and hopefully it can continue to build, because Adam and Clinton do an amazing job with Race Rivals. They cover a lot of dirt stuff. We cover mainly pavement racing, and hopefully we'll get to see more of it. Jomo Media, they do stuff. Driver in Deep, can race for a long time. I mean, Bryce And Steven, Caitlin, Alex, they were the reason why we got started in this. They were the ones that did this before us.
And it's the succession, right? Like they've moved on to like take
positions.
We've taken our different career paths in our lives, and we've taken this as, albeit a very passionate one, but it's a hobby type thing. Can race for Bryce and Stephen and Caitlin was like at a passionate hobby capacity that turned into
a launching pad,
what they wanted to do in their careers. It helped influence what they wanted to do with their lives. So, I mean, no matter what way you do it, I mean, it's still, there's a common interest there with all of us. And it's something that doesn't change. That's pretty neat.
In terms of our guests this year, do you have one that was a standout? And you can't say all of them because that's cheap. For me, I'm actually going to go.
And I can't say DJ because that's easy.
You can always say whoever you want. But for me, I'm going to start. I'm going to start first because I want you to think, because you said only DJ, but I know there's been many.
Yeah.
For me, it's actually the young racers that we've had on this year.
Yes.
Because I don't remember being so mature at that age. And some of the answers that Trayton Lapsovich, the Kyle Steckley, Garrett Tiemersma, that Wally Wilson, that these names gave us answers that you're just like, what? I don't remember talking that well. I don't remember giving such mature answers. And it's like, they know what they want. They know that this is the career and this is potentially a big thing for them. And if they can approach it the right way, a sponsor could be listening.
Well, I mean,
you can go with DJ. It's okay.
It's like anytime you talk to DJ, the guy's going to talk your ear off about some racing, and the guy never has an old story. I mean, the guy's he's got so many, and like he can think up one right there that like something you're doing or something like will remind him. So, I mean, it's always awesome having him here. And when you say Kyle Steckley, I mean, my kid, like he's older than my kids, but when we were taking Owen and Riley up to Scott, Kyle's in the back, like little Kyle. So, I mean, seeing him growing up and like not just taking up the family business, but like he's taken up the family business of winning too, as he's adapting to different race cars. So, I mean, we've been able to talk to Kyle multiple times through stickers and scuffs, but I mean, we got to camp right near them at Delaware. So, I mean, we'd see him coming back from practice and he'd stop into the campsite and talk to us. I mean, it makes it that extra personal thing when you're talking to him. So, I mean, having an interview with Kyle and just seeing, like you said, when we first had him and he had his tiny little boy voice and like he's growing into the man, but like just his interviewing skills, because he got so used to having a microphone put at him because he kept winning races this year and finishing well. It was kind of neat to see his progression of the craft of the interview even. So, I mean, I guess that's the answer. I'll go with Kyle.
Race weekend. What was your favorite race weekend that we had this year? Because there's a lot of
that's a loaded one too. I can find reasons.
I'm going to say my worst first. And you got to pick a worst as well. Sunset. And the only reason I'm going to say it's worse because the weather was crap.
And we were there for like 13
We were there
14
forever.
Hours. You were there longer. Like,
I was there since like
bright and early.
I was there since like 9 a.m. It was so long of a day. And it was rainy. And then it got cold. And then it got hot. And then it was rain again. The races were fantastic. But that was my worst race weekend. To me, I can't really say Delaware because I didn't have a weekend there. But I guess I can in a way, because to me, while CTMP was amazing and I loved it, for me, enjoying a race isn't CTMP. That's just not a place that I would typically enjoy a race at. I loved everything at Delaware Speedway. I think legitimately, I loved the venue. I think it's got a great history. We were talking about this before. It feels like with Jamie Maudsley, actually, we were talking about this.
Yeah.
It has this kind of
electricity about it.
It has this feeling like it's a southern track. I think you said Jessica had said this. Your wife had said this, and it does when as soon as you pull in, and I just like this. It doesn't feel like the other tracks. And while I liked Flamborough and I liked Sunset, it had a big fight feel. And so seeing it potentially be the finale for next year makes me really excited, because I think that's where it needs to be. Obviously with the loss of Jukasa, I think that is by far the place I think is my favorite race weekend. Add the championship bid in there, add the King of the Hill, getting to see that, and getting to meet a couple more people that we hadn't seen. It was definitely worth it. What about you?
I mean, the Delaware weekend, as you said, the Pinty Series roots are so firmly planted at Delaware that it belongs. And I think making the spectacle of the championship there, along with the APC series, like that whole combo platter of racing was just amazing, and there was no shortage of drama at any given point. That was an awesome race. I would agree with you. Like you said, you were there a lot longer than I was, but Sunset was a grind, and we were very lucky to see some awesome races, which definitely brought that up. I mean, it was really great to see those races. Flamborough was the disappointment factor almost. Like the one that Ranger took, him and DJ. I mean, there were great battles throughout. And
cars were dropping off.
The only thing that sucked about seeing one is that we didn't get to see the second one, and I wish we could have. So, I mean, that was a bit of a drag too. We did get pretty wet that day too.
Yeah, that was a long one as well. Obviously, there's certain.
I did want to give a shout out to CTMP just because, especially this year, because they could not get the Southern Tours up there. That Canadian sprint weekend that we did was awesome. It was neat to, and this is something that kind of goes a little beyond that too, that all of us Canadians that wanted to go to races, but we were kind of stuck within our country. I hope that it's going to probably recede some of the numbers that we saw at stands this year, but I hope it doesn't too much. I hope because people came to kind of quench their thirst or scratch their itch for some racing, that they liked what they saw and will think again, because I'm an example of that. We used to spend our money and do like 1 or 2 trips to the States. And once you got a feeling of, and why we're doing this, once you get to know some of these people, your money is well spent staying at home. Instead of going to 1 or 2 races in the States, you can take in a whole season of the Pinty Series right close to home, do some camping, have some amazing experiences. And CTMP is something that, for my wife who loves camping, especially, it's like a national park. I mean, if you're a casual fan, you don't have to have racing in your face every single second. You can if you want to, but you don't have to. You can kind of be out into the grass and the nature area, and there's so many people there. I mean, we got to hang out and watch racing with so many people. So a shout out to them too. I mean, it's such a fun time there. It's never a bad time at CTMP. Love Mosport.
If you had to pick a race memory from this year, what would it be?
Ooh. A race memory.
I would think this would be an easy choice for you.
For me?
Yeah.
I think for my kids and me by association, the 22 number winning a road course was huge.
Yeah.
That was a big thing. It wasn't Scott driving that car, but it was Scott's car. And that was something that he worked so hard and he came so damn close so many times till he got to see his ride take that. So that was pretty neat.
I would say seeing our decals on so many cars this year was a definite thrill. That very first event,
yes,
with Chantel Kalika and Larry Jackson, they didn't have to do that. And what they did for us, we can't thank them enough. Both of them are amazing people. And
Yes, they are.
we got names like Dexter Stacy, who did the same, 22 Racing, Mike Rice, everything that he did for us, trying to get our decal on those cars. We got him on Trayton's car, and LP Dumoulin for that final race. We got on so many cars at Delaware. It was unbelievable. And to see our little rinky dink podcast being on the race cars is so cool. And it wouldn't have been possible without Davin Cornelius at Drive Through, who does amazing designs. And Riley, actually, I'm going to say, and Riley as well, because he designed the car that was on that logo. And
Davin is Riley's frigging paint cast guru hero. He loves Davin, and that's another guy we got to meet at CTMP this summer. We actually got to meet him. The boys didn't, but I mean, it was super cool to meet the guy that brought that to life for us.
Made the
really,
brand.
He
changed. Did this.
Yeah, that activated everything from that moment where we got to see these proposals from Davin. It's just like, oh my God, that's exactly what we were thinking, but didn't know what it looked like yet.
We don't have the skills to design. we don't have that.
I can design you a landscape, but that's about it.
Yeah, we can talk. That's what we can do. We can talk and make a lot of noise. And we obviously the laundry list of thank yous for this past year. We're gonna start with I'm going to start with Emily, my sister, who does all of our Instagram posts and has done the majority of our thumbnails for YouTube. Like I said, I'm not very skilled at doing designing of stuff, but she has been able to do all that, and she does all of our Instagram stuff because I frankly don't get Instagram at all. But
and it looks so good too.
Yeah, she really does do a good job.
Yeah,
right?
She does a great job.
My dad, we got to thank Fireman Al, who was put through his paces, having to walk around with a camera and icing his
logged some miles this year.
He definitely did, and he had to ice himself because he was in pain, and still made it through. And I want to thank obviously our really good connections at certain racetracks, certain race people. Obviously, Caitlin Patrick and Sherry Putnam at NASCAR. Yeah. They were unbelievable in helping us. Obviously, Alan at NASCAR as well, for helping us out. The encouragement from Clinton Jeffrey, Adam Ross, Todd Lewis, Jesus, the names go on and on. Jerry at Sunset Speedway, he was the first one to let us in. So we had to go through Jerry, and he has offered so much amazing advice and wisdom. Wisdom is what we need. All the drivers, PR and marketing people like Jessica Menard and Mike Rice, Dave Lloyd from Quick, obviously our boy, we love you, Tony Spiteri from Pinty's, everything that Tony did and campaigned for us. The Bun Sons, Owen and Riley are my favorite little race car fans. They're not so little anymore, though. They're going to be too old before we know it. And next time they have their next episode, Owen's voice is going to be like 8 octaves lower.
And lower.
And lower and lower. And then all of a sudden, Riley's will as well. And then we're going to be replaced. So I want to thank Jessica for keeping you in line, putting up with you and putting up with us at the racetrack.
Pretty unbelievable.
She's an amazing woman to have to deal with you in your craziness.
Truth.
Yeah. We are all lucky that Jessica's in your life. So, and then I want to thank you, my friend, because we did not expect that this was going to happen. The fact we recorded our first meeting at Sunset Speedway this year, we had never met until the racetrack. And that was one of the most special moments of my life, because I didn't just gain a co-host, I gained a best friend. And he's I'm trying to make him cry if you can't tell, but
take it easy there, fella.
Yeah, he's just gonna cover it up, right? Cover up the tears. But it's true, we weren't expecting that a virtual podcast would turn into something like this. And I think what you either have chemistry or you don't. And we've been lucky that Old Smooth and Cam K have been able to connect pretty easily. You know, you got a guy who has a beer with dinner every night, and then a guy who hasn't touched beer unless it's free. So you got the 80s race fan, and then you got the 90s race fan. You've got the ancient 40-year-old and the ancient 30-year-old. And the one thing that we live and breathe is racing. So, you know, I can't.
And it's something that we have in common with a lot of people.
And I don't think we realized how many people until this year.
Right.
And there's so many people that we really want to be able to get on this show and continue to talk to. Obviously, we got to get the Driver in Deep boys on here. And, you know, we obviously love our G-Force TV guys. They do a great job. And obviously want to finish the Pinty series, kind of get through everybody. We're still going to get Mark Dilly on here. That's going to happen.
He's our friggin' unicorn. No offense. I don't mean that in a frilly way. I mean,
he's our Pokeroo. If anybody knows
Eleanor,
the Pokeroo that you can never find, but that might be just a 90s joke. I don't know. But it's
missed him again.
Yeah, missed him again. Is it the Pink Panther? Is that the one that you can never find? That's the one, right? The mystery that you can never find the Pink Panther. I think that's what it is. But yeah, I just want to say thanks to everybody that's helped make this possible. Fast Signs, who helped put our decals together for our trailer. Actually, before I move it on to you for your thank yous, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Remax Jack, for having faith in us, investing in us, and allowing us to be spokesperson for his amazing real estate. I can't say enough kind words about Jack, because Jack has helped me immensely in trying to find a place. It's not easy as a single person to try and find a place to live, especially with budgeting. But I trust Jack more than a lot of people, and he has done a great thing for us. So we just want to repay him for, you know, whatever we can do to get the word out about Remax Jack, and hopefully we'll see him back next year with us. And you know, we wouldn't be able to do this without his support.
Call Remax Jack and start to pack.
Amen, buddy.
Yeah, thanks very much to Jack. I mean, as you say, I've never personally met him face to face, but I mean, his belief in this, and obviously to write a check for us to cover some of this business. I mean, it's neat for us to sort of live the racer's life vicariously this way. I mean, albeit in a very microcosm type way. It's this whole year, like since this inception, and then especially this summer when we got to really get out there and get at the track. And I want to give a shout out to personally, we're kind of rubbing all the media guys the right way here, but Joel Robinson gives me a lot of behind the scenes, just kind of shots in the arm. He's not afraid to give constructive criticism. And Dave Bradley is one of probably the most supportive guys that you'll ever meet. Just a guy that's willing to chat and also pump you up and tell you you're doing a good job. But particularly lately, I just Joel's a guy that he's one of the first, what I call famous people in the Pinty series, because I followed him for a long time. Like the production end of it is just fascinating to me, and the stuff that he's been a part of with his dad and everything. He was one of the first ones in the series of a personality that I got to meet, and he's just been nothing short of a good guy ever since. So like a legit friend that knows this stuff on a professional level. So like any little wisdom he imparts on us, we take it to heart, and any sort of technical support he gives us, we definitely take to our advantage too.
Oh, yes.
Say, right?
Yes. He actually was the one that allowed us to do our very first interviews at Sunset Speed. It was just me, but we got our very own
People are still
cameraman.
watching that video though. Like,
Yeah, they really are. Got
Yeah.
on cameraman Dean. Shout out to Dean for that. And it was definitely cool. Yeah, so that's basically that's it for our year in review here. Graydon, let's well, we don't have a beer or anything like that, but let's raise a toast to 2000.
got a water.
Good old water, eh? 2021. On to some more, even more exciting things in 2022. Hopefully, a stop at Motorama and some stop in some provincial races, which will definitely be on our bucket list. So, we really hope to see you guys once again tuning in to the Stickers and Scuffs podcast every week. Make sure to subscribe, follow us on all social media, and of course, follow the NASCAR Pinty Series community on Facebook. And of course, come out to a race. We definitely want to see you guys there. So I guess that's we're going to wrap it up. Enjoy your new year, everybody, and we will see you guys very soon.